Long ago, in the world of Spheres Magna, there once existed these powerful beings that were once Glatorian, and they went by the name of the Great Beings. Once they encountered the powerful entity which was Aldnoah. And from the Great Beings' creativity, they created many unique creations, such as the Toa, the Makuta, the Matoran, even the Great Spirit Robot. But one of the very first Toa that were devised, the very first prototype that became before all, was Tribute. Tribute was trained under many great legendary warriors that lived upon Spheres Magna, learned many battle tactics and techniques. But one day there was a fateful accident when one of his own faithful comrades was slain by that of the Skrull. To seek vengeance, Tribute went to encounter the Great Beings and request for their great power and wisdom, and thus such great power and wisdom was received, for he was upgraded and became Tributron, guardian of the Great Beings. And hello, this is Tributron here, and we are going to be reviewing my own rendition of my self-MOC, the 3.0 version. Yes, that's right, I have finally completed it, my own rendition of Tributron, guardian of the Great Beings. And as you can see, there have been many liberties made. Everything is clean cut, everything is very easily depicted, so you can see all the simplification of all the detailings that I have put in the previous version, and he retains almost every single function he used to have, plus more. Except there were some sacrifices that needed to be made for the sake of overall appearance, which means he no longer has the punching arm gimmick. Now, before we get into anything, let's get into articulation. So he has great range all in all. He has great curl in the knees, excellent bend. Shoulders are not hindered by anything whatsoever. However, just like the original, he does not have as much backward movement due to how the swords connect onto the sides of his waist. But other than that, he has great articulation, including waist articulation. And he can even crunch, believe it or not. There is a mechanism where there is a 5-long Technic beam that slides up and down whenever you go ahead and bend his adamant, so he can go into a full crunching position, and then when you go ahead and straighten his waist out, he can, the 5-long beam stays stationary the entire time. And also, you're probably wondering, wow, if he has all the functions, then how does he kick? You may be asking, because he no longer has the gear butt. A matter of fact, there's hardly any visible gears besides the one that you can honestly see on either side of on the ends of the shoulder close to the neck region. Well, that is because I decided to tuck away that one gear function and have it be activated via another method. He can kick via the twisting of the waist, and the twisting of the waist does not hinder the articulation whatsoever. So whenever you twist the waist, he kicks, and he kicks very effectively, and you won't have to worry about any legs falling off, except for the fact that the right leg will always fall off for some one way or another due to it not having a sturdy connection overall. But not to fear, because other than that one oversight, it is still fun to play with. It's very durable. I made it as structurally durable as possible, and it doesn't feel like as if it's gonna fall to pieces. And also, you may have noticed the toes are gone, so he no longer has articulated toes, and you can tell by his overall design that he kind of reflects somewhat of an Nika build. And the reason being that is he was basically the first prototype Toa designed in my own headcanon before Helrix was even devised. Since he was the first like Toa ever created, basically was a prototype Toa that ended up getting an upgrade by the Great Beings. So what was one of the most powerful like Toa builds at the time? It was the Inika. The Inika build was a very, very powerful build, even greater than that of the Toa Nuva, if you remember 2006. So I decided to do that. And you may have noticed, like, as well as like, where is the Kakama? I love the Kakama. The Kakama looks so nice, Tributron. Why did you get rid of it? I would put a Kakama or a White How, but the thing is, LEGO never designed any freaking other G2 masks in alternate colors. Anyways, let's go into some of the functions. So he can kick, as you saw previously, and also he has the arm rotating function, and he also has a stud launcher over the shoulder. But if you notice from the stud launcher, he freaking has a socket connection on the back of the gun. That is because specifically in case if he loses his arm in combat, he can literally just use the arm cannon as a spare arm, and that arm cannon can transform into yet another sword. Yes, I love swords, don't judge me, right? I love my swords, maybe a little bit too much. Anyways, and also he has these ice blades, and man does he look good while wielding them. I mean, he looks like as if he means business every time when he wields these swords. It's like freaking going all samurai or jujitsu or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he looks like a very keen warrior, you know. He's ready for any mission, any combat, and any mission. Dear Lord, am I talking about Hero Factory now? Should I do more Hero Factory MOCs? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, the overall design of this figure really emotes a heavily armored-like feel, but yet again, it's the armored parts, which are depicted in gunmetal, are only featured in a few key areas, i.e. the chest and shoulder region, as well as the shins. And though this is like a third color on this figure, you know, there's quite a few colors on this figure, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even though there's white and blue, which is consistent all the way through, and I even dedicated to having like some clear blue spikes over on the arms, kind of like the original design used to be of my own self-mark. And I also kind of like emoted like a mechanical-esque feel, especially with the legs. You know, and I think it was a very clever usage of those Hero Factory gun pieces to act as shins, because it really does reflect a Inika-like build. It honestly does. But one of the most limiting factors of this figure, in my opinion, would have to be the fact that, well, it's the mask. The mask kind of like throws off the overall color scheme a little bit because it doesn't follow the basic palette. It's not gunmetal, it's not white, and it's definitely not blue or silver. Possibly silver will work, but since you both have gunmetal and silver in the build, silver being primarily for weapons and gunmetal being for armor, the depiction is pretty clear. If I were to use gunmetal weapons to go along with the gunmetal armor, then it will not flow well with the hands, since the hands are in gray and white. So having a bright metallic color to contrast it, i.e. silver, helps with an ice-themed character. And speaking about the swords, oh dang! That switchblade is freaking amazing. I love it to no end, especially with the little gimmick where it just flips back and forth, back and forth. It is so satisfying, and the fact that the switchblade also has a working stud launcher in it takes it to an extra mile. And I believe like the usage of a tube as well for the actual shoulder armor itself, really for the overall like chest armor overall, really helps with the armored motif. It makes Tributron look like a knight, which I kind of like knights, which is why I was going for like a knight theme. It kind of reminds me of the old name that Bionicle would have been called, which is like Bionites. Besides from Boneheads of Voodoo Island, but it definitely does have a knight-like feel. And I think if it were to have like a knight mask, maybe if I put like a Knight's Kingdom mask on this figure, it might go the extra mile. Should I put a Knight's Kingdom mask? Probably. But at the same token, I want to make my own custom designed mask to go along with this overall look, because the Gen 2 masks don't really work for me. The only one that comes close is the MKAlieZ mask, since I kind of like a goggle-like feel, like having some type of visor. And the MKAlieZ mask is the closest thing to a character having a visor, so it works. Kind of. If I had the translucent cow that the Gen 2 MKAlieZ have, then I could probably paint some of the outside areas in white, and then that would probably carry along with the overall theme. Though it would be dark blue, if I remember correctly. It would be a little off, but at the same time, it would be believable. But I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, this figure is pretty sturdy. It has a great range of articulation. The yellow might throw it off a little bit, but I put the yellow there so that it's obvious. Yes, this figure does have a gear function. I want those yellow gears to be eye-catching on purpose, because one, there's rubber bands literally all throughout the figure, both in the adamant and also in the switchblade that acts as a shoulder cannon. And I want those yellow highlights there because it reflects, yes, this figure has functions, but I couldn't do the same for the crotch region with the kicking function. And speaking about the kicking function, I think I did a great job with tucking in and removing the actual gear butt entirely, yet there is still axles jutting out from the rear. I wanted to actually put like some type of butt armor of some kind, give myself MOC an actual butt, like a manly flat butt, but at the same time, there's hardly any way to do that with how everything is set up. Possibly I might figure out a way in the future, but in the meantime, it's just going to be like that. And also, the fact that you also have the weapon connections on the side of the waist close back to where the rear segment is at, it kind of makes the butt look a little bit wider than it's meant to be. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, I probably have a big rear myself, but at the same token, I think the overall design is flows, it's not overly jagged or anything. I mean, everything flows well and it helps this figure tremendously. But anyways, I think that will be it for this video. So if you like this video, leave a like, because that is how I know which videos you like and do not like. And be sure to also go to Patreon as well, where I go ahead and create a whole bunch of like stop motion animations, prompts, and other cool artistic things. So be sure to go ahead and follow me on there, and also you can follow me on all other social media. That's right, I tend to go on Facebook and Instagram a lot primarily, so be sure to check those out. And also, I'm starting to post some more over in Tumblr, so be sure to check that out as well. Oh, and guess what? I also have Discord! Yes, that's right. So if you guys want to go ahead and check me out over on Discord, the link is gonna be in the description down below, so be sure to check that out. And where it will be a place where you can leave your MOC suggestions, or even possibly be a voice actor in a future animation, though animations do take time. So with all things considered, please be considerate and wait patiently, because animations do take a long time to make. I'm not joking, they do. But anyways, that will be all for this video, so I hope you all enjoyed, and like always, I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!